Hello, I'm going to walk you through the breeding cycle that we released for Dog Breeder Pro recently. And how I'm going to do that is, firstly, I'm going to take you through a dog's breeding cycle for which we already have data. And then I'm going to go to a dog for which we don't have any heats or anything recorded yet. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to navigate to one of my dams called Goldie, and then I'm going to breeding and breeding cycles. So just to explain the concept of breeding cycles in Dog Breeder Pro is we stitch together heats, matings, pregnancy and litters. So for each heat cycle that you have, we connected the heat, mating, pregnancy and litter for that cycle, and we're calling it the breeding cycle. So on the screen you'll see the current and past breeding cycles, and above it you'll see the forecasted heats if it's switched on. You can toggle that right here. Just a note on heat forecasts is this is where you can specify whether you will be breeding with a dog or not in a specific heat, and then if you are going to breed with a dog, you can specify the sire with which you plan to mate. Okay, back to breeding cycles. You'll see a lot of information here already, but this is clickable. So let's go into this breeding cycle. Once again, at the top here, you'll see tabs for heats, mating, pregnancy, and litter. So starting at the heat, starting at the heat, this is where you would update the start date of the heat, the end date. You can log how many days the dam was bleeding or was attractive. And you can also specify the actual ovulation date once you've determined that. On heats, we also support multiple dated notes now, not just one note that you have to edit and add your own dates. And at the bottom of the heat, we have the space where you can log progesterone data if you do test for that. And if you do add your values, we'll plot it on this chart with bands that will help you determine when ovulation is expected. So we can show you when it's expected, but it's still up to you to enter the actual ovulation date. Once you've determined ovulation, you will breed the dam, and this is where we allow you to log matings. So you would add a mating, select the sire, what type of mating was it, etc., make notes and so forth. Once you've determined that the dam is pregnant, you can adjust the pregnancy status here. You just say edit and select that she is pregnant. If something else happened, you can also log it here. Again, multiple dated notes on pregnancy. You can just add it here by clicking the plus, similar to the heat screen. And then in order to help determine when the whelping will happen, we now also support reverse progesterone testing. You can record your results from your vet here. Oh, by the way, you can select your units here. It will use your default workspace unit, but you can change it here if your vet gives you results with a different unit. And then when the whelping is really close, you can also do temperature tracking to look out for that temperature drop. when the whelping happens, you can then also add the litter. The birth date will be estimated, so you can adjust it based on what actually happens. You can also set the the default go home weeks. So after how many weeks do you want your puppies to go home? Or if you have a specific date in mind, then you can override it with setting this date in the edit screen there. And once again, multiple dated notes are also supported. Right at the bottom here, you will see puppies. You can add puppies here very quickly. Just enter the number of males and females, and you can add all the other details a bit later. Okay, so you see all your puppies in this list over here, and they are colored according to their collar color. So if I edit this puppy, I go to the edit over there, and this is your normal puppy form. I can see the collar color is set to burgundy. This is also where you would set the time born. And if this puppy has been reserved for someone, or if you want to reserve the puppy for someone, you would set it here. And then once that's all been cleared, you would set the actual new owner here. And you can also set the puppy status from available to reserved or sold. Now you'd see the status update, or the status here, and also the owners that have been set already for this litter. This button allows you to navigate to the actual dog profile if you need to view the full dog. Okay, then moving on, at the bottom here you will see many of the many tabs for puppies. So all the information about your puppies will be available here. You can navigate to calendar, and this will show you the puppy age calendar for every week, and then with the anchor weeks in there as well. So you'd see this week and the go home week, and then in each week you would also see health events and to-do items for that week. On the weights tab, this is where you would log your puppy weights. You can choose the units in which you want to capture weights for this litter specifically, and you can also set for how many weeks you want to capture weights daily. After that, you can just add another date at the end. So let's say I definitely want to capture on the 25th of May, then I can add a weight date and just capture my weights then and there. We also have a PDF printout for puppy weights. So you basically print out this chart and then you can keep it on your records. It's great for comparing weights with your next litter. There's a notes section where you can capture notes for multiple puppies at the same time, or just 2 of them, or all of them. It's just a flexible place for you to capture capture notes for the whole litter. On the health tab, we have the ability to capture vaccinations, dewormings, vet visits, and also health tests in bulk. So for example, if I look at this health test that I did for all the puppies, you can capture the results for each respective puppy right here, together in bulk. The Photos tab allows you to add photos for each puppy respectively, and you can take photos of the whole litter and upload it there. In Dog Breeder Pro, we generate your pedigrees, medical reports, and dog reports for each puppy, and you can download all of them in bulk over here. So if you select all dog reports, then the dog reports for all puppies will download. And there are also AKC litter reports and the Dog Breeder Pro litter report. Contracts. For puppies, you can send contracts directly from here. You already have the puppy, and if you have the owner specified, you can add a contract right here, and the puppy and the owner details will already be populated. And you can just send it off for e-signing directly from here. This allows you to monitor the status for the business admin for your litter right here. In sharing, you can set up, you can make the pedigree and the public pages available for each puppy. And this is just a way to set it up for your whole litter, so you don't have to navigate to each puppy individually. For documents, we also now have the ability to add a document for each puppy and not just the litter. And then for to-dos, we have to-do lists that you can add on a litter, or to-do lists that you want to be able to tick off for each puppy individually. For the litter, for example, you want to prepare the whelping box. That's just one to-do. But microchipping every puppy means you want to be able to check it off for each puppy individually. So that's puppy to-dos. And then these also show up in the puppy calendar over there. And then litter financials. This is where you can capture income and expenses that specifically pertain to this litter. And when you do capture a transaction, you can see there it's already linked to the litter, but you can also go and link it to a specific contact or specific puppy, or the sire and the dam will also be listed there. So, for example, I tracked that I got a deposit from Justin for puppy 3 on this litter, and I bought dog food for the entire litter. Yeah, so that is everything that you can do in the breeding cycle. So everything from heat up until the litter and the puppies, you can find it here in the breeding cycle. And then a little summary will appear here. Okay, now I want to show you what it looks like on a dog for which I don't have any heats captured. I'm going to choose this dam. Yeah, she doesn't have any heats or breeding cycles captured. So if you are new to Dog Breeder Pro, this is what the breeding cycle screen would look like for you. And what you want to do is you want to add your first heat. If you know the date of a past heat, or if a heat just started, then you can say, okay, heat just started. I put in, that's today's date. I don't know anything else. I'm just going to press save. And then you see it's listed here in the breeding cycles. So if I go into this breeding cycle, I already have a place to add matings. I first need to add a mating, and then I can track a pregnancy, and then I'll be able to add the litter. So I'm going to go back to breeding cycles, and my heat forecast is switched off. I'm going to switch it on now so I can start planning the rest of my heats. So I simply toggle, and then I have a heat forecast. And now I can start planning, okay, when am I gonna start breeding? Am I gonna skip this one? Let's say I mark it will not breed this cycle. I go back to my breeding cycles and I see that, okay, I will not breed this cycle. I also don't want to breed the next one, but I want to start breeding next year, and I already know I definitely want these 2 dogs to breed, and now I have a plan for the whole next year already. Okay, that is the summary that I wanted to give today, and I hope that this helps. Let me know if there's anything else that you would like me to cover.